Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of the UK Connection. All of us three happy campers are gathered here together on a Saturday to give you some more concert experience enjoyment. Before we get into that and the beer and all that good stuff, let me introduce my two co-hosts here. We've got, of course, from Lancashire, Mr. Simon Bray. Smile, Simon.
Lancashire.
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 Lancashire, Lancashire.
You said Lancashire. It's Lancashire.
Lancashire. Did I say Lanc?
Oh, he's going to be prickly tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I think so. That's okay.
I just realised I can't turn my phone off because that's where all my information is. So everything we talked about beforehand. I just hate being alive. Just saying.
Yeah. Just for anyone who is watching and going, what are these idiots talking about? Which is normal. Okay. To break the illusion, to shatter the illusion, we are not sitting here on a Saturday. This is actually Thursday. And for those who follow the comments and know Simon reasonably well now, Burnley are currently playing. Currently lost a goal. They were ahead, now not. We're going to have fun tonight, aren't we, Simon?
We are going to have fun.
No.
We're going to try. Because if Simon did his planning correctly, we would not have taped on this very evening, just so he could be in misery watching the game. But
I make sacrifices for you and these fine people.
That is right. That is right. So he's going to suffer through whatever's going on with the game, talking to us about concerts from 2016, 17, and 18. And let me introduce Mr. Steven Reid from Perth, Scotland. So, yes. So, gentlemen, before we get started, Simon, what are you drinking tonight? Because obviously you're going to have to drink a lot, I think.
Sorry. I would love to see Burnley win. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you. You just don't realise it yet.
Okay. I have gone back to what Peter would call Nottinghamshire. And do you remember how the 99 Red Baboons the other week?
I do.
From the same brewer. It doesn't have a funny name, but it does have a monkey. It's just a Primate's best beer, and yeah.
What's the thing with the Primates? What's the baboons and
the Blue Monkey Brewery? Can you see what they did there?
Really, there you go. You see,
monkeying it up. Yeah,
too clever for me. Way too clever for me. Too subtle.
Yeah. I'm also going to pour it into my Clitheroe Beer Festival glass as well.
Nice.
A big hello to all the people who said hello at Clitheroe last week. Yeah, just saying. So I'm going to pour it.
He is out and about meeting everybody, right? It's like,
really
See, this is what happens when I live in the wilds of Scotland. All I see are like pine martens and wildcats. See what? Look at this. This is all planned. This is all put together. This is the Cairngorm mountain range just up the road from me. Wildcat. And I've got in the habit of reading the stuff on the back because it's nonsense. But my favourite thing on the back this week is, obviously, this is powerful and sleek, just like a Scottish wildcat. It's a beer.
Like yourself.
Anyway, absolutely, yes. As I do like the fact that it says no added preservatives, but it does contain barley and wheat. But if I can take you around the world for a second and upset everybody across all of these different countries, it then says that it contains Gurstenweizen, Bögen Hevete, Bögen Hevde, Orge Elblu, Orzo e Fermento Corn Evete. Okay, so realistically, if you have a barley, wheat, Vete, Hevete, Vete Orzo Orge allergy, then this is not for you. Okay, I'm really sorry because none of it sounds like any of that. Well, for some, they've put the allergies in all the different nationalities, all the different languages on the back of my Scottish beer.
I'm sure it's good though. Now we got monkeys and cats and on our beers, and
it looks good.
Oh, that's very tasty looking beer. All right, I've got probably my current favorite German Pilsner beer, a Varsteiner. Das Einzig Wahre. German Pilsner beer. Anything interesting on the back to read to you? No, other than it's a family tradition since 1753 from Varsteiner, Germany. That's it.
Just because there's nothing interesting on the back doesn't stop me from reading it.
True. You're going to find something that's interesting regardless, right? Yeah, this is, and that wonderful German Pilsner bouquet. Gotta love it. And I even have this nice glass here from the folks at Burlington Beer Company in Burlington, Vermont. Look at that. That's some good drinking right there.
Who am I? Who am I to suggest anything? But what I just to see if somebody put it in the comments, just do me a massive favor and tilt the glass a little more.
A little more. Okay.
A little more. Yeah, just a little more. You should, yeah.
Dear, was that enough of a tilt for you?
Yes.
Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I wanted to say something to all of the American brewers out there who make what they call Pilsner. You can make a great Pilsner beer that has flavor, people. Just trust in the Germans. They know what they're doing. This is Pilsner with lots of flavor. It doesn't have to be a bland, know-nothing dad beer. Is that a little bit better, Steven? Something like that? No.
See, I always think when you're pouring it, and I'm no expert, and it does go wrong on occasion, that you should have it tilted to the extent that you think it's going to come out of the glass. At some point, it's going to come out of the glass when you're pouring it. That's
okay. Lesson learned. I will try better next time.
Sorry.
All right. So now that we got the beverages out of the way.
I never pour live. What I would like to say, excuse me interrupting, Peter, is that because we've already broken the third wall and admitted that we're recording on Thursday, is I just wanted to very quickly raise my glass to Vangelis, who sadly left us today. He's a massive part of my musical journey, and I have a huge amount of his releases, and there's a lot of them there. A much missed talent, I have to say. So very sad news today.
Yes, may he rest in peace. And for everybody watching this, obviously you'll be watching this on Saturday. Ken Golden and I have already done a tribute video to Vangelis back on Thursday. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out here on the channel. A drink to Vangelis. Losing too many of our heroes, man, I tell you.
Indeed.
All right, so the years today we're going to be covering here, 2016, 2017, and 2018. And I know Simon is completely invested in these couple of years here, just as much as he is that the game that's going on. So I'm going to have Simon go first with his couple of highlights from 2016, and if he has any stinkers from that year.
If Simon hadn't bothered to open Stephen's email a couple of hours ago, Simon wouldn't have been ready for 1991 again. So it's a good job that Simon did open that email, isn't it?
That was a good idea.
Yes.
If we're not doing actual listening to bands and shit, I just rock up and make them shit up as I go along. Really, yeah. 2016. Wow, I saw a lot of bands in 2016. I really did. I'd like to give a big shout out to Bloodbound, who I saw. Yeah, really enjoyed them. No, I can't mention them in the best support acts category, but they were really, really good. Very much enjoyed them. I've liked them for a long time. They were really excellent. I particularly enjoyed the weird things that he has on his head.
Yeah.
Which aren't daily boppers, He's a grown man, Each to their own, really.
They are actually really genuinely on his head, Peter.
Really?
Yeah. He plays live. He's got little red horns stuck on his head. It's very weird.
Do they wear like facial paint as well? No? Okay.
I think he had a cape as well. And I don't think you can ever have enough capes, can you really?
I know a lot of those AFM Records bands tend to wear corpse paint or do something on their face for whatever reason. I don't know why. It's very strange, but
Bloodbound are a bit more cheerful than that.
Yeah, I like Bloodbound. I think they're really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
Thoroughly enjoyed them. Very much enjoyed. Don't need to pap on about Sabaton, because obviously I saw them that year because I see them every year. Same with the Choir Boys, same with Stranglers. Let's just move on. Romeo's Daughter. Yeah, I did, however, see Dirk Schneider that year.
Oh wow! Good time.
Yes, playing the Accept hits.
No,
I remember they did that. Yeah,
did not come anywhere near here on that tour, and I was most upset.
Put these words in a sentence, Stephen. Deal with it.
With deal it. No.
Very good, very good. Yeah,
I'll work on it. I'll work on that.
Excellent. They had the guy that went on to be in Beast in Black on guitar, and he was a happy, smiley individual. I don't know what he was on that evening, but I've seen him before. He's always a happy, smiley individual. So excellent. Him and Anvil were in support, and I do have to say that I was walking out. I looked over at the merch stand, and Anvil was sat there going, "Just the saddest looking dudes I've ever seen."
But they practiced that look from the film, you see.
Oh yeah, poor Anvil, right?
And I'm a fan. I've seen them many occasions, but everybody was trooping out, and there they were with their sad-faced emoji.
Please, will someone buy a T-shirt, please?
Well, yeah, I did last time I saw them. I'm just saying. Actually, last time I saw them, I didn't see them because I'm too short. But let's put that to one side. I also, yes, 2016. I also saw Billy Joel at Wembley Stadium.
Oh wow, nice.
Do you know where the sound goes at Wembley Stadium?
Nobody does.
No. Yeah. Hello.
Nobody does.
Oh, yeah. He was great, but he wasn't the best sound I have ever heard. And I also, for the first time in my entire career, in that year, saw REO Speedwagon.
Wow. Nice. Yes.
Supporting the Quo.
Oh, nice bill as well.
Very much so. Always wanted to see the wagon, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yes, indeed. Yep. Good times. Still wear the T-shirt roughly every week. So yay. Yeah. Good year. Lots and lots of bands there. Lots of bands. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll get to it in a couple of minutes, but I think for me, 2016, I saw the most bands that I've seen since the start of the 2000s. It seemed like I must have been going to concerts like every week. It looks like. So I don't know why, but and a lot in the summer. I think that was one of those like summers where every like package tour came to the New York area, and I went to all of them. So I don't know. Steven, what do you got?
Well, yeah, I would suggest these 3 years were the most difficult that I've sat down to look through, because I could easily have done 2 shows for each year. So I haven't been organised enough to say, well, I've got 2 from this year and 2 from that year and all that kind of thing, because they're just too many that are too good. So the ones that I'm not going to go into great detail on, I finally got to see ELO in April 2016. They were fantastically good. I mean, it was by that stage, Jeff Lynne's ELO didn't matter. I mean, they played all the hits and nothing else didn't matter. They were outstandingly good. And I do love the fact that the bell in Mr. Blue Eyes is actually a fire extinguisher. Tang, tang, tang is what they're hitting, which I liked. Tremonti in June 2016, they were just fantastic. He was fantastic, but the whole band were brilliant. That was really good. So I've only really put one down to focus on from 2016, and that was on the 6th of February in the Glasgow Garage, which I have complained about before, but I've seen some great gigs there. And it was one of those strange things that I had not planned on going to at all. My other half and my eldest daughter bought my other half tickets to see Strictly Come Dancing. I was not there, okay? I was not there. But, I was not there, Simon. I was not there, okay?
That's Dancing with the Stars for our American friends, isn't it?
Yes, that's the equivalent. Yes, sorry. Dancing with the Stars for our American friends. That's the equivalent.
So you were a figment of everybody's imagination that night?
No, because I wasn't there. I was not. But Vicky didn't want to drive through to Glasgow and drive back late at night. So the compromise we made was that I would drive through, and I went to see Tesseract on my own. That's what I did. I just looked down the gig listings of that night in Glasgow and thought, well, if you want me to drive you through, I will take you to the Hydro. You can watch all the glittery nonsense that you want to watch. And I'll go and watch a triple bill of Tesseract, The Contortionist, and Nordic Giants.
Pretty good.
That's one of those rare occasions when I was standing at a gig by myself. Hadn't planned to be there until about 2 or 3 days beforehand. Nordic Giants were bizarre. I don't know if anyone knows that band. They're a kind of modern prog sort of thing. And their live show is as much about the films that they show as it is about them playing. So the stage is in almost total darkness. And there's a screen behind, as you would expect, but there's also screens in front of them. And they're almost incidental. There's only 2 of them. It's one of these person on the drums flailing about like this, and a singer, multi-instrumentalist, kazoo, I have no idea. But you had some sort of mad headdress thing on, and was just moving around, and you could just kind of see the silhouette. They were all right. It was a great show, but they were okay. But the Contortionists were a completely new band to me. It's made me a massive fan from there on in. They stole the show, but Tesseract were brilliant as well. So that was just one of those nights where you kind of think, do you know what? I'll go along there because that's what I'm going to do. But man, oh man, did I land on my feet. Absolutely fantastic. Two of the bands were utterly outstanding. And Nordic Giants have lived long in the memory. So I'll give them nothing else. So that's the ones for 2016 for me.
Cool. All right. So like I said, 2016 was a good year, but I think for me, by far and away, the most notable show I saw that year was Black Sabbath, the End Tour. This was right at the end of the End Tour, Madison Square Garden, February 25th. I went with my brother, Rich Pardo, who folks have probably seen here on the channel, and Chris Canzaneri from the Hudson Valley Squares. And we proceeded to drink a lot of Guinness that night, like from like 4 p.m. throughout most of the show, and got pretty lit up. But Sabbath were amazing. Rival Sons opened the show, and they were great too. And it was just, I think for me, it was a perfect way to see Black Sabbath for the last time. And I'll always remember that show. It was really, really great. Other cool things I saw that year, Dennis DeYoung at the Wellmont Theater in Montclair, New Jersey, right before then. Anderson, Rabin, and Wakeman at the Beacon Theater, November 1st that year. I saw Kansas that year. I saw Styx that year. Saw Steely Dan that year. Also saw Journey and Santana together at the Garden in April 13th of that year. And that was the Santana 4 lineup. So basically Neil Schon played with Santana and then played with Journey afterwards, which was great. Nice. Sold out, really good. And I'll say the worst show I saw that year was Dream Theater at Radio City Music Hall doing the full Astonishing show, April 23rd of that year. And that was probably the only Dream Theater concert I've ever seen. I've seen them more than any other band, where I actually did not even stay till the end and was pretty much bored completely the entire time. I was hoping that seeing that album played live would finally open up a door that would allow me to enjoy that album, and it only made me dislike it even more. I
had no idea you liked the album, Peter.
I don't like the Astonishing at all. Boring and just pointless. And I want to love it because I love everything else they've ever done. I love the band, but I just don't like that album. And I disliked it even more. Oh, I didn't want it to be the case, but it was. So there you have it. That's my 2016. A lot of other stuff, but those are some of the highlights. Back to Simon.
I'm just going to write down that you don't like the Astonishing because I just didn't know.
No, you didn't.
No, you should probably mention it occasionally.
I probably should.
You should maybe do a whole show on that album.
I probably should do a whole show on how non-astonished I am at the Astonishing.
See what you did there. Yes,
Cheers to the Astonishing.
2017. I just want to step outside the Sea of Tranquility paradigm for a minute. In 2017, it was towards the end of October, no, at the beginning of October, and I was really poorly. Oh. Yes, I was really poorly, but I still went to what can only be described as the Great British Alternative Music Festival, because unlike your Uncle Peter, you heard, unlike your Uncle Peter, I like me a bit of punk rock. Yes, I do. And after many years, because I was a little bit too young for the original punk rock, I got to see for the first time. I've got to see the Skids. Really enjoyed that. Eddie and the Hot Rods. He's dead. He's been dead since. Yeah, excellent. The Angelic Upstarts. He's died since. He sent in some form of pattern at this point. Yeah. I saw the Vapors. They actually played Turning Japanese about third or fourth song in. Where did he go after that? I know.
Wow.
I know. Right after.
I know.
Brave or foolhardy.
Yes.
I would think they come out and play that song. Thank you. Good night. That's it.
Got another 35 minutes left. Yeah. And importantly, I saw the Anti-Nowhere League for the first of what is now about 300 times. Yes. So yeah, really enjoyed that. But let's move on to more SLT for.
Can I interrupt a second, Simon?
Of course you can.
Because I've seen the Skids once. Well, actually, I stumbled across the Skids, no pun intended. Okay, because they played an open air gig in Perth. I mean, these things don't happen. I would say, 2 years ago. Literally, we were walking down the high street in Perth, kind of going, "What is that?" And I thought, I recognise that, but it wasn't the Skids I recognised. It was Big Country, was what I recognised, because now they kind of do joint shows.
They do, because half of them are in each band.
That's it. And musically, it kind of works and kind of doesn't. But it was good fun, I have to say. I'm quite a big Country fan. Never really a massive Skids fan, but live it was fun, I have to say. But it was just one of those odd occasions that I'd forgotten that. It's not even in my gig book because we never intended to go. You didn't have to buy a ticket. We didn't stay till the end. But I literally was walking down the high street kind of going, I know that music. Where's that coming from? There you go. Came round the corner, literally at the back of the theatre in a parking lot, and went, oh, look, there's about 300 people here. There must be something happening.
There are worse things to stumble upon, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like Big Country, so that was a bonus, yeah. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And it was good food too. Anyway, I digress. Sorry, Simon.
Digression is always good. Yes, indeed. Okay, in 2017, and this is like really quite sad. Not sad as in lonely, as in, really just sad. As in 2017, myself and Boy the Elder, who of course from the comments, we went to see Rhapsody of Fire, or a version thereof. Yeah, the one where only is it Alex Staropoli?
Yeah, the keyboard player.
Yeah, he's the only one there. But by God, has he got big hair? Holy shit! That's tremendous. No, I can't help you out on the hands. No, didn't do that. However, we saw them and let's try that again.
Did you? I don't think you did.
Orden Ogun, yes.
Urgen. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, we saw them, and I really, really enjoyed Rhapsody of Fire, or what currently stands for Rhapsody of Fire. And Benjamin really, really enjoyed Orden Ogun. I thought they were pretty good. But it's one of those venues where you can like see the band as they're like getting ready.
Mm.
It's like not much of a surprise when they stroll on. But they were both really, really good. And one can only imagine that the singer for Rhapsody of Fire, who is not Fabio Leone, that somebody was like behind him, like with like, oh God, I've no DIY skills, but somebody was behind him with some form of vice, to get those notes. You know what I mean? Wow. Yes, very much so. Yes, indeed. Yeah, and that was the last time that me and our Benjamin have been to a concert
together. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was a good one.
Yeah,
it was indeed. And if he ever gets out of China, I'm sure we'll go again. And he's currently texting non-stop about the Burnley game. Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, now I'm not being distracted by the. It's like just being in my living room of an evening. Okay, now either it's your horde of fans, which are growing by the week, I may add, okay, or there's quite a lot happening in the game. So can we have a score update, please? Because I'm not following this.
Still 1-1, but Everton have pulled back to 2 apiece. So let's ignore that, shall we? And in 2017, and I think this is no secret, Stephen, to our people that we know in the rest of social media, it was the first time I ever saw Cats in Spades.
Yes.
Yay. Have you got the new album, Stephen?
I may have the new album and the beautiful press back. It came with today through the post, which was handed to me in person by my postman because he knew it was important.
Peter, you got it? No, excellent. So they were great, and they were sporting Deep Purple. Yes, wow. Yes, they were, and
pretty good bill.
Yes, with Europe in between. We should do a show on Europe sometime.
Yeah, one of these days.
We'll mention their new stuff being quite good. Yeah, and they were really good. I'll tell you what, though, the main thing I came away with was roughly this: fucking hell, Don Airy's good.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
The main thing I came away from that, holy shit, he's really, really good. Yeah. He holds that shit together. Is really good. I think that's the word I'm going for. Yes, indeed. And I feel like that's it for that particular year. Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. That's a great build, man. I would kill to see something. Oof. Really bad.
Says the man who just went, oh, I went to Madison Square Garden. Really? Every week. Yeah.
I've been to the Garden a lot. I have.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you'll find it's the Garden.
Yeah,
See, if you live there and you go there all the time, it's just the Garden. Whereas to me, the Garden is the thing I was weeding earlier.
Yeah. The man who regularly goes to Poughkeepsie. Come on.
Might be hearing more about that place yet.
Please. I can't wait. I'm all ears.
All right.
Oh, Everton are winning. Jesus Christ, I want to die. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, right, fine. That's okay. I just thought a couple of morning there was appropriate. So 2017, the ones I'm not going to talk about are Scott Sorry, who I'm sure you all are aware of. No? Okay, fine. Scott Sorry was in the Wild Hearts for a short space of time. He was one of their many bassists. He is a fantastic musician, great songwriter, and he has released one of the best solo albums from one of the guys that's been in that band. And it's a theme across these 2 years. I saw lots of acts that I thought I will probably never see them. And Scott Sorry played in the Edinburgh Bannermans, which really is just, it's almost like it's a tunnel. I think I've spoken about it before. It's a brick ceiling. On the wrong nights, it's like an oven. It's actually the right nights because it usually means it's a great show. That was a great show. It's just honest rock and roll played with a bit of a punk attitude. It's really, really good. And Metal Church, I saw them in the June of 2017. They played, I think, in Glasgow Audio to a very small turnout for such a legendary band. Mike Howe on vocals, who's sadly no longer with us now either. And they were one of those bands again that I thought, I'll never see them in my life because why would they come and waste their time playing tiny venues in Scotland? Well, because they wanted to and they enjoyed it. And they stayed afterwards and spoke to everybody. They stood at the merch. They had photographs taken. They were just the nicest guys in the whole world. And considering a band who've been there and done it were playing to a handful of diehards, it didn't matter to them at all. It was like the best gig that they'd ever played in their lives. Absolutely brilliant band.
Did you get to meet and talk to Kurt Vanderhoof?
I did indeed. I didn't get quite as long with him. He was highly in demand, shall we say. What a lovely guy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely lovely guy. It means a man mountain, but a lovely guy, as to be said. Because you come up to him and you kind of, oh. Like this. And you're like, but he's the nicest man in the world. Yeah, absolute privilege to meet those guys. It was so good.
Did you shake his hand?
I think I probably did, but I think my hand was so dwarfed by the ginormous thing that encased it that I didn't actually remember. I think he touched so many nerves at once that I mean, come on, of course he had rougher hands. He plays guitar. Yeah.
And big hands. Like one of the gladiator people.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
got it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Kurt, if you're watching, I know you watch a lot of this channel. Your hands were not quite soft enough.
Yes.
You don't quite measure up to Mr. Parr.
No, not on a par with Parr. But there we go. So the ones I'm gonna talk about, other bands and acts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's more. There's more. Sam. I didn't do many for 2016. Come on.
True.
Yeah, I tried to keep it because 2017's madness. It's 18th of February 2017 at the Glasgow Garage, Symphony X. Another band I thought that I would never ever see. The set list was outstanding. Nevermore, Sharon, Swan Song, Sea of Lies, and they closed, Set the World on Fire, The Lie of Lies, and Legend. And just seeing guys like Michael Romeo and Russell Allen in a smaller room, just incredible. They were as good as I ever hoped that they would be.
Amazing live. I've seen them live probably 5 or 6 times. They're so good live. Yeah.
All the time I've seen them, and they were just outrageously good. Cool. Outrageously good, stupidly good. So then I saw on the 14th of February 2017 a bit of a hero of mine, a massive hero of my eldest daughter, Jeff Scott Soto, but under the band name Soto, which is his kind of heavy outlet, and they were brilliant. Just say Bannerman's again. It's a strange venue, Bannerman's. It's one of these ones where the guys have got to get through the crowd to get on stage. So it completely blows any kind of build-up. I mean, Jeff Scott Soto's another guy who's got, like, he's 75 feet tall and his hair's longer than that. And it's just like, I mean, he was, excuse me, everyone getting barreled out of the way as he politely knocked everyone to the floor. You knew he was coming on stage because the whole room moved. But he was amazing, other than the fact that he was clearly using a microphone on that night that he'd either got from the venue or they'd hired for the tour, and he hadn't used it before. And the one thing he did not realise was the mute button was... And it happened so many times, and he was like, oh, he got so angry by the end of it, has to be said. He did pick up on it eventually, but the set was phenomenal. They played loads of Soto stuff, and he kind of steered clear of the Jeff Scott Soto stuff, but he played a couple of things from his time with Yngwie Malmsteen. He played some Talisman tracks, and he did a couple of tracks from Steel Dragon. So that's from the Rockstar film, the ones that he sang that Mark Wahlberg, whatever you want to pronounce it as, mimed over the top of. And you thought, why would he play them? Because they were bloody great. Was why. And that was just brilliant, absolutely fantastic. Then at the other end of the spectrum, a completely different kind of night on the 19th of May 2017. Now, we've spoken about this before, Peter, because this was the night that I saw Riverside in the Liquid Room in Edinburgh. This is the first tour that they did outside of Poland after their guitarist Piotr Grudzinski had sadly died. And it was just the most moving experience that I have ever been to in any form. It was, I mean, they were great. They were absolutely fantastic. Musically, they were bang on the money. They played everything that you would want them to play, but it really was like joining a band in mourning. And it was a bizarrely moving experience. And you were aware of it at the time, that you were watching something that could never, ever be repeated. I'm sure that there were similar emotions right across the tour, but I'll never be at another gig that had that same sort of feel and honest emotion. There wasn't a single bit of show. There was no kind of pretense. You know, they were delighted to be there. They were so inspired by the turnout and the love and support that they got. But at the same time, it was a fantastic gig that was tinged with an amazing amount of sadness. And it really was. It's not often that you leave a really, really, really good gig where everybody has clearly enjoyed themselves in almost total silence. You know, yes. And the Liquid Room is there's lots of strange little venues in Scotland where you come in the door at the front and you go down a whole load of stairs into what is a basement, basically. And we all filed out in pretty much total silence. And it really was a remarkably moving experience, and one that was a privilege to be at in a completely different way to seeing just a band that is absolutely on top of their game. So there was that one. And then the last one from 2017 was on the 12th of November at the Glasgow Academy, and I saw Little Steven and the Disciples of Soul. I'm a massive fan of Little Steven. I just think that he is an underrated musician, songwriter, arranger, guitarist, singer, the whole thing. And the whole, not pretense, but the whole idea behind the show, as his recent albums have been, was to take you through the history of rock and roll. And they really paced the set, taking you through different eras of rock and roll and soul, and all the way through R&B up to a much more modern sound. And the whole event just grew and grew and grew. I think there was 13 members of the band on stage. And what started off as kind of low key and a bit lo-fi turned into just a massive party. And it was such expert showmanship to have been able to build a set like that, that it's genuinely, I mean, like yourselves, I've been at hundreds of shows over the years, and there's a handful that stand out where you think, wow, that really just managed to raise itself above most of the things that I've seen. And that raised itself above most of the things that I've seen. Really is, it stands out as a defining moment in my gig going history. So that's my 2017 on the good side. On the bad side is, we got it here, we do. Can we see?
Lift it up a little bit.
we go.
Here we go. So one of the only 3 that were played, correct?
Yep. It was garbage. Absolute garbage. I've never been at a show where the guy that everybody wanted to see didn't want to be there as much as Richie Blackmore did not want to be on stage that night. And I know it's not all about the spectacle, and I know it's not all about the flashing lights and the big stage sets and the screens, but to bring 70s production values to a ginormous 10,000 seater venue in the 2000s was, it showed the disdain realistically that he had for the whole thing. It was a big screen at the back, showed really boring stuff, and just kind of coloured lights shone against a white screen behind it. There was no atmosphere, there was no energy, there was no anything. I mean, Ronnie Romero tried his best. The guy can sing. He was able to ape all of the singers that the band has had, and it just didn't come across at all. And really, I mean, by the end of it, people were kind of shuffling. I mean, it was seated, which didn't really help, although it's just the kind of fake seating that they put out. But people were just shuffling around and kind of looking at each other. And I mean, between songs, people were kind of going, is it just me or is this really bad? And it was really bad. It was really, really bad. One of the biggest disappointments that I'll ever have been to, because it was one of those, I can't believe they're going to play. As I said, these years were filled with bands that I thought, well, I'm never going to see this band. Kind of wish I'd never seen this band, because at least that way I could have thought, well, do you know, if it ever will, it'll be great. Well, I did, and it sure as shit wasn't. It was really bad, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I felt listening to the 2 live releases and the DVD that they put out. I'm listening to it, watching it. I'm kind of like, man, this isn't really good. Richie just seems bored. He just seems like he doesn't want to play any of that stuff. And it's supposed to be Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, and half the set was Deep Purple songs. I'm like, what's the point? And then, you know, he could have, this is no disrespect to the Blackmore's Night Band, but he could have put together an all-star band to do this with. And it's just like, it's Ronnie Romero, Jens Johansson, and a bunch of Blackmore's Rainbow folks. And it's like, and it wasn't inspiring. And I feel really bad for Ronnie Romero, because he did a fine job trying to be Coverdale, Dio, and Gillan all in the same show. But man, Richie was just, he was sloppy, and he just like, it's like he's just doing it for a paycheck. And it's like, why bring back a great band like that for that reason?
He didn't even go through the motions. Do you know, he didn't throw any shapes. He didn't engage with it. I mean, you didn't expect him to be kind of this gregarious sort of character, because, well, he's not. And he doesn't pretend to be. And why should he be? He's the man in black. He's allowed to have that level of aloof mystery, because he's built an entire career on it. But when the band's got no charisma, then there's really, and they're not playing great. I mean, the band played great, but it just didn't come across. Then there's nothing left. Absolutely nothing left.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, because all the great lineups of Deep Purple and Rainbow they were great because of more than just Richie Blackmore, right? He was the icing on the cake for all of them. He was one of the important figures. But, you know, you need to have a Gillan, you need to have a Coverdale, you need to have an Ian Pace, a John Lord, a Cozy Powell, a Ronnie James Dio, so on and so forth. There are these just amazing lineups that produce this great music. And yeah, it's...
The thing is that he could have, see, and I may be looking too deep, because he could have put together, you know, a bland backing band and brought out guests as the show went on and really raised the place, whether he was that interested or not.
Yeah.
There's part of me that, with hindsight, and maybe I'm just looking for reasons for why it was quite as bad as I remember it being, there's part of me going that he'll have walked away from those dates going, oh, do you know what? They'll never ask me to do that again. And I can't help but think that he's going, well, do you know what? I'll put all of this in my back pocket, and then everyone will go, hey, Richie, would you ever like to? It's all right, it's okay, doesn't matter. Because it was that apparently he didn't want to be there, and there was no thought put into it whatsoever. And if he'd put a team around him of people that knew what they were doing, which I'm sure he did, then somebody must at some point have said, Richie, we're not going to do something a bit special here. We're not just going to, you know, spruce it up a little bit, put some sort of show together. And it was nothing. Really, such a disappointment. But anyway, there you go.
All right, 2017 for me. I'm a lighter year than 2016 for whatever reason, but I did see a couple pretty good things. I got to see Queen for the first time, but Queen with Adam Lambert, right? Still a lot of fun. I actually saw them twice on 2/6. I'm trying to think if I saw them before this. Was this the second time? This might have been the second time, actually. But this was at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey on July 26th. That was very good. Also saw Iron Maiden and Ghost at the Prudential Center, same place, June 17th. Probably the highlight concert of this whole year for me was Joe Bonamassa at the Beacon Theater in New York City on September 23rd. That was really, really great. And I went by myself. I was supposed to go with my parents. Because my father and my mother were into Joe for a bit, and this was at a time where they were still able to go to concerts and things. So I actually bought them tickets, but then I think my father got sick, so I wound up going by myself, and I sold their tickets out front for like next to nothing, right? But man, was he good, and he had a great band, and it was just dazzling. It was like the first time I'd ever seen him, and I've seen him a couple times since. Just absolutely amazing. And then the other notable show was November.
Excuse me, who was on drums?
Anton Fig.
Yes, good.
Yeah,
It was when I saw Joe as well, and he's a hero of mine. So
yeah,
he's a hero of mine.
It's a really good band.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
And the last one for this year, there were no stinkers for me this year, but the other really notable show for me, which it was the first time I had seen them in a couple of years, was King Crimson at the Egg in Albany, New York on November 8th. And that was with the current incarnation of King Crimson with the 3 drummers and, 2 guitar players, Tony Levin, and, the whole Mel Collins and all that. And man, I was like brought to tears. It was so good. It was just like, they were playing, and they've continued to play. Well, now they may be no more at this point, but that lineup was playing stuff from all throughout their career, all these kind of cool, rare songs from all the, the not so big 70s albums. And it was just absolutely amazing. And the Egg is such a great place to see a concert. It's small, it's intimate, and the audio was just fantastic. The acoustics are great. And it was a pretty magical evening. And I was just sitting there like in stunned silence the whole time. I shed a tear a couple times because they were playing songs I never thought I would see them play live, and they're so good. So yeah, that's mine for 2017. All good stuff, but no real bad ones that year. Back to Simon.
Oh God, Burnley have just had a red card. Shit. Right, 2018. I've only got one thing to tell you about in 2018. One concert, which was at the same venue as we've just been to, Manchester Rebellion. It was an interesting period in the life of Simon, if you were me. I'd just been made redundant from my previous job, the one that Pete thinks was the best job of all time. Which for many, many years it was, and then it got a bit shit. But let's put that to one side, shall we? And I did something that I very rarely ever do. I went on the bus, like with the common people.
Yes.
Yes, I went on the bus with I know.
What type of madness is this?
I have to do that every time I hear that word. There you go. Yes, I went on the bus and I took a bus beer with me because I'm a really sad, lonely individual. Went to Manchester, had a few scoops, went to Rebellion, and Trooper was really reasonably priced, shall we say? Yes, and I saw Nashville Pussy. Yes, I did, and I thought to myself, wow, I've wanted to see this band for about 20 years. So I counted the other 69 people that were there. And, put it on social media, and apparently everybody else must have been at Liam Gallagher or some other shit like that. I know. Ugh. Yeah. However, they were really, really good. They were really excellent. They were really tight. The support act was great. I'll tell you about them at a later date. But the key thing is that obviously I find myself actually on the album. I must be on it because it was recorded partially in Manchester. So it does sound like there were more than 69 people there. You know what I'm saying?
I smell a little sweetening might have gotten on there, right?
I feel like it might have. Yes, indeed. Yeah. So, yeah. They were really, really good. The overwhelming memory I have, though, is that they were really, really loud and really, really good. And at one point, I got my beer and I thought, oh shit, I've just got to like pull my pants up. So I put my beer on an amp that was just at the side of the stage.
Simon, you had to do what?
I had to do something like adjust the way I was standing. Yeah, pull my pants up or something. I had to do something.
Why were your pants not up?
Anymore. I don't just. Okay, I don't know what I had to do, but I put my beer down and I watched in absolute distress as the beer went boing, 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 all over the floor. So I had to go and get myself another reasonably priced trooper. So, yeah.
Thank God they were reasonably priced, yes.
Which is relatively unusual in Manchester. Just saying. Yeah.
You know what's really interesting? How many times have you guys been at a show that's fairly poorly attended and you wind up counting all the people that are in attendance? I've done that so many times. It's so like wrong to do, but I'm like, God, there's nobody here. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm sitting there counting and I'm like you need to prove to yourself that it's either way too less or it's just enough, right? Like it matters. It doesn't, but we do it anyway.
Yeah. I've been at some where their turnout was so low that you didn't have to count them to know that it was not enough. Do you know, senescence, which I think I've mentioned before, where literally the crowd was made up of the support bands, people who come to review the show, and me and my mate. And the support bands were so young that they had to go home for bed.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to mention it, but that's the same year that later I saw Michael Schenker, not group, Experience or whatever it was called at that point.
Michael Fest.
What a great name that is, isn't it? Yeah. With Eden's Cursing Sport, we've discussed it before, and there weren't many people there. I think I wrote about it on the, when I used to write things. I think I wrote about it then. Sometimes you think, rock and metal's going to die unless people get out there, And I feel that at my age, that if I don't get out there and watch bands these days, I will die. So I'm going to carry on for as long as is humanly possible, because I don't want to be replaced on the UK connection or anything like that. So I'm just going to keep going. But some attendances are just shocking.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Yeah, I've seen a couple in recent months that were really poorly attended. I mean, Wishbone Ash and the Neil Morse band. I was like, God, is there even 100 people in here? It's like,
wow, really?
Yeah. Granted, they were both in Albany, New York, and I think both shows were either like last minute replacements for shows that got canceled, or they were during, this is during COVID when people are finally starting to, go out and play. So it was early in the whole, all right, we're saying F you to COVID, we're going to go out and tour anyway, right? So it was in the early stages of that. And I'm just like, I walk in, it's like, it's like the main band's going on. I'm looking around, I'm like, there's fucking nobody here. It's like, Jesus, but the bands didn't care. They were just happy to play. So, yeah. What are you going to do?
That you, Simon?
I've done them, but we only got a point, so phone should stop going off now.
There we go. See, I have been so distracted.
There it goes.
I've been so distracted by Burnley's fortunes. I forgot. I've brought lots of show and tell. There's Little Steven tickets. There's a Symphony X ticket. They all look the bloody same, don't they? Because it's just Ticketmaster Tesseract ticket, Therefore, it pains me with some of the tickets that I've got since. But 2018 for me, the ones that I'm not going to talk about, okay, the Wild Hearts. And the reason I'm not going to talk about the Wild Hearts is because you can take it as read that I've seen them at least once a year, or Ginger solo, or CJ Wild Heart solo, or Ginger and the Sonic Circus, or Silver Ginger 5, or Mutation. Okay, but this was a Wild Hearts acoustic. So it was just Ginger and CJ acoustic, and Bannerman's should have been a shambles, was utterly brilliant. They did a meet and greet and they were pleasant to everybody. That doesn't always happen either. So it was just a really, really good night. The other I'm not going to talk about, Sons of Apollo. Okay. Simon's finally worked that out now.
No, just find it amusing that you do it every time.
Yes, indeed, because they played in Motherwell. I mean, people from Motherwell don't play in Motherwell. Nobody plays in Motherwell. People from Motherwell leave Motherwell to play outside of Motherwell. they would rather play on the roads out of Motherwell than play in Motherwell. And
this is why nobody speaks to you when you're out. I'm nice.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I'll go to Motherwell and I will get garlanded with flowers and gifts and everything. You will get tomatoes belted at you because
you know that one of my good friends that I used to work with in a previous job lived in Motherwell, and we were at a conference in England somewhere, and the weather on the way back was as horrible and nasty and disgusting as you could possibly imagine. And all the way back, Jim said to me, yep, but the sun always shines on Motherwell. And I shit you not that when we came over the rise on the M74, there was literally one crack in the clouds and glorious sunlight coming out of the sky on Motherwell. I really, honestly, kid you not.
One of my favourite places.
But there you go. So anyway, I saw Sons of Apollo in Motherwell. I'm not even going to go into that. They were great. Billy Sheehan's got chicken legs. Okay. But apart from that, and it was Jeff Scott Soto again, they played Motherwell. They were phenomenal though, right? So the one I'm going to talk about, okay, and the reason I remember that I actually have brought show and tell is because it pains me. This is my ticket. Don't do this, please, people. Don't do this, okay? I mean, it's even worse now when you just go bleep on your phone, right? I mean, there's idiots like me that have got books of tickets. Please think about that, right? And I mean, I'm even one of these idiots who will go, yeah, okay, there's a souvenir ticket, right? Which means a ticket with a name on it. And I'll pay an extra £2 for that ticket. And if you'll pardon my language, everybody, they fucking well sell out before the gig's finished. What? They don't have enough souvenir tickets that they haven't printed before they actually start putting them on sale, that everyone that wants one can get them when they're charging you more for absolutely nothing. Anyway, this is my A4 printout, okay, my bespoke ticket for the one band that I really thought I'd never see, that I saw in these 3 years. And they weren't even allowed to use the name properly, okay? Because on my ticket, it actually says, this is the catchy name of the band. It says, Punky Meadows and Frank Domino of Angel play Angel. I mean, Angel played in Bannerman's in Edinburgh. I mean, pardon. Do you know, this was a band that I think I was 8 when they split up. I was 8 years old when this band split up. I was never going to see Angel. Do you know, I was never even going to see Geoffrey. I never actually managed to see House of Lords. I mean, I was never going to see Angel. How on earth was that a thing? I mean, I got into Angel because Dave Reynolds wrote about their albums when they were reissued in Japan on CD in 1992. And I spent a shed load amount of money on these albums that he had slavered about in that magazine, because you couldn't go on YouTube back then all the damn time and just listen to things. You had to go, I like Dave Reynolds. I trust every word that that man writes. I'm going to shell out roughly £80 on Japanese import CDs on a band that I actually haven't heard of before. Fuck me, he was right. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And to see them all of these years down the line, and I mean, I know Punky Meadows now looks like this, right? I have no idea what that's about. I don't quite know how it happened. It's like, the man can play. I mean, Frank Domino is like Jay Height. He can see less than you at a concert, Simon, and he's on stage, okay? And I'm convinced that he really didn't quite know where he was, because in between songs, he would just say the same things over and over. He'd say the same things over and over. I mean, he'd say the same things over and over. And you kind of thought, he's never going to get through all these songs. He can hit every bloody note of all the songs that he sings way up here. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was a dream come true. The set list was absolute perfection. And I believe they are coming back later on this year or next year or whenever it may be. You better believe I will be right at the front of the queue to not buy a ticket, to get an A4 printout to come out in my own house. Amazing.
Do you think Punk is going to be impressed to see you?
Yes, he's going to love to see me. No problem.
Because I'm sure, you know, like everybody else will be tuning into this and going, and then going up to the mirror and going, really? You know,
there's Steven Reid. Hey, Steven Reid.
Yeah. He's going to smash you in the face with his boots.
And you know what? If he catches me straight in the mouth, we'll look pretty similar. That's not the point. The man could really play. He could really. I'm a massive.
You're rowing back on it now, aren't you? But he's heard it. We've all heard.
He's lovely and he's beautiful. And if you wanted to kiss me, I'd say yes, thank you, please. Okay. So yes, that was the best gig that I saw in 2018. The worst one that I saw in 2018 was on the 26th of March in the Glasgow Audio. And I went along because a friend of mine, his band, were playing as the support. The Swamp Born Assassins were playing as support. And it's funny we're talking about gigs where no one's turned up. Because if his band were not supporting, well, nobody would have turned up to see Warrior Soul. Because nobody was there to see Corey Clark and what would appear to be local musicians pretending to be Warrior Soul alongside him. Because that's roughly where we were. So Swamp Born Assassins finished their set. They had a rousing applause. They came off stage. I mean, it's all their friends and families and all the fans that they've got locally that they've built up. They're all chatting away, these guys. Corey Clark comes on the stage, and man, oh man, was that man not happy that nobody gave a shit that he was there. He was not a happy chap. And rather than think, you know what we'll do here is we'll play it safe and we'll just do a really good show and see who we can win over, he started to get arsey with his own band, and he's getting on at them for not playing things right, and he's kind of pushing the guitarist off to the side when he tries to get into the centre of the stage for a solo, and he's screaming and shouting at everybody as if he's playing Wembley and you can't hear him properly. It was embarrassing, was what it was. And I don't mind certain eras of Warrior Soul. Admittedly, I'm more of a latter fan than I am the early stuff, but it was just, as I've said before, guys who've been there and done it, and Corey Clark has been there and done it, should be able to read a room. And that room was not there to be used and abused because nobody gave a shit about the guy. And it was a shame, but man, oh man, did he handle it bad. So yeah, Warrior Soul, seen them twice. We might come back to them at some point because they were shit the first time too.
I've never seen a band where there's been a minimal turnout. I've never seen a band not put it in. When I saw John Pye, there were 18 people there. He put it in for the full hour and a half, 2 hours that he was there. He really went for it as if it was a stadium. And
yeah.
I've seen Eden's Curse, and there weren't that many people, and they really put it in, and loads of others. If you're really in it for the music and the right shit, you'll do your best at any time.
Yeah, that's a sign of a professional, right? I mean, yeah,
exactly.
You gotta be professional.
Exactly.
I've seen an arena where there was 17 people there, I think, upstairs and down in the Renfrew Ferry, which I've covered before. Start a gig like this, finish like that because it is genuinely on the water. And I mean, they were doing like a tour for a concept album. The singer's out with the top hat on and the cane, and he's going through all the motions, and he's pointing at people that aren't there. They played a phenomenal gig. That band, Senescence, just young guys out on probably their first, maybe their last UK tour because nobody turned up. Fuck me, they were good. Do you know, they gave a shit and they thought, do you know what? There's maybe only literally less than 10 people left in this venue. Let's entertain them. They were great.
If those 10 goes over 10 minutes, they're really good. Yeah. The next time they might have 20 people there.
Absolutely.
Kind of builds, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Okay.
All right, to close us out here for 2018. This is like one of those years where it seemed like I saw like a lot of this. I saw a lot of the same bands like over and over and over again. I saw Judas Priest like 3 times. It's like, I don't know. They just kept coming back around. So I saw Priest with Saxon, Black Star Riders. And I saw them with Deep Purple and at Bethel Woods. The first one was at the Prudential Center. And I saw them at the beginning of 2019 with Uriah Heep. But also this year, I saw Heep headline on their own at the Paramount Theater in Peekskill, New York. But the 2 ones I really want to talk about, 3. Government Mule at the Palace Theater in Albany, New York on April 26th. I hadn't seen Government Mule in like 25 years. They were great. Like really good, cranking, heavy Government Mule, and Warren Haynes was like incredible, really incredible. They're such a good band. The other 2, Halloween United at Irving Plaza, New York City on September 15th, which was amazing. I hadn't seen Halloween live in a few years, and this was my first time, obviously seeing them with all the singers and most of the guys. And yeah, it was 3 hours of 3 hours of Halloween. I know, Steven, I'm sorry. Simon and I were able to witness something you haven't been able to. I know. But man, was it good. So much fun. They played like everything you want to hear. And it was one of those nights where I was feeling every inch my age. This was 2018, so 4 years ago. So I was 52 at the time, so even younger than now. But I remember standing in Irving Plaza like this, wall to wall people, sweating up a storm because it was like early September. And like halfway through the set, I'm like, I'm loving this, but my fucking back is killing me. And I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to stand up, right? Looking for any corner somewhere that I could like jack my back up next to, just to like be like, oh, thank you. But it was great, really good. And the other show was actually 4 days before that, on September 11th, Glenn Hughes at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, New York, doing the whole Deep Purple show. And that was phenomenal. I mean, he had Jeff Coleman on guitar, and this was the Glenn Hughes band playing all the, you know, the Mark III classics, and a couple, which I thought was weird, played a couple Deep Purple Mark II era stuff, which, come on, he, you know, those were, yeah, I thought that was strange. I think they did that for a reason, but I would have just rather have heard all Burn and Stormbringer tracks and Come Taste the Band the whole night. That would have been fine with me. But man, was he good. I mean, this guy is like a freak of nature. So that was really noteworthy. And that actually was the first time, if memory serves, that I have seen Glenn Hughes since the ill-fated 7-star Black Sabbath tour, that I saw one of the 2 or 3 shows that he sang on where he was awful. So this was great to see him all these years later, like at the height of his powers at, you know, Christ, 60 something years old, right? And just amazing. So yeah, that was it for me for 2018. No shitty shows, all pretty good stuff. So there you have it, everybody. 2016, 17, and 18, some of our concert highlights, the good and the bad, and in a couple of instances, a couple uglies. So let us know what you all happen to see on these 3 separate years, anything worthwhile. But if you're just here to hear our stories, hey, you had some good ones today. And go team, right? I just was checking my phone. My Mets just won, bottom of the 10th inning. They pulled it out. They won 7-6 over the St. Louis Cardinals. I know nobody cares, but all my Mets fans watching, I'm sure you already know this because it was a couple days ago, right? So as we break down that wall, right?
Yeah, it's not quite the same as the night I went to see Fish and he came out and told us that Scotland had beat France, because that was happening like then.
Yes. So thanks for watching, everybody. Tune in next week because we are talking about
Styx.
We are talking about Styx next week. So favorite and least favorite albums in a wild card. It's all about Styx next Saturday. But the good thing is you don't have to wait till next Saturday to see the 3 of us here on Sea of Tranquility, because tune in Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The 3 of us are going to participate in Perfect Album Sides. So that is coming up Monday morning. So that's just 2 days after today. So after you have tomorrow, you have album homework assignment with Rich Catino and Craig Kaminsky. And then Monday morning, the 3 of us will be back once again, and each of us will have a perfect album side selection. So
I'm even going to wear the same clothes for that episode. I'm going to wear them for the next couple of days.
Well, if you're going to, then I will too.
Yeah,
Good
I
plan.
might do the same. So
Excellent.
there you have it, everybody.
I might have finished this by then, though.
Yeah.
So tune in Monday morning for 3 stinky, sweaty, drunk bastards, right? All back together once again on Perfect Album Side. So thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. All together. All the damn
time.
For Simon Bray and Steven Reid, I am Pete Pardo. See you Monday, and then see you next week here on the UK Connection. Bye-bye.